Mystery and wonder are still all around us in the animal kingdom, and even though we have roughly 8.7 million species on record across the world, there are still new species being discovered. So it's no surprise that occasionally reports come in of animals that seem too unreal to be true. The sort of beings spoke about only in stories and legends that are commonly referred to as cryptids, that can be found in nearly every culture on Earth, and have the ability to strike intrigue, fascination, and occasionally fear into those who believe they have seen them. So here we look at 5 mythical cryptids that may actually exist. Before we get into this, check out our newest ebook that we have just published on Amazon, called Mythical Creatures of Asia by Tom McGlynn. The book covers many different species of cryptids that have been reported all across the Asian continent, and it's an incredible read for anyone wanting to find out more about this fascinating subject. It's available for $2.99 on Amazon and Amazon UK, and you can start reading your copy today by following the link in the description. We hope you enjoy your read, and you will not be disappointed. Now sit back and enjoy this video. The Butterfly People. On the 22nd of March 2011, at around 6:15 in the evening, a devastating tornado swept through Joplin, Missouri. It only lasted for around 38 minutes, but in that time, $2.8 billion worth of damage was done, and 158 people tragically lost their lives. While international news teams broadcast the story all over the world, separate reports began to surface from survivors who relayed bizarre and strange encounters with what they called butterfly people. The most prominent and well-documented of these tales come from 2 young cousins from the Joplin area who survived the tornado, Mason Lillard and Lage Grigsby. The pair were in their grandparents' truck at the time the tornado struck, and the winds managed to hurl the vehicle some 300 feet away from where it was parked. Lage was rescued from the debris of a nearby building, and Mason was still sat in the wrecked vehicle when she was found. The 2 of them were extremely lucky to be alive. When they came around and were given the opportunity to recall the day's events, reporters immediately noted one strange detail in both their stories: the presence of little humanoids with functioning butterfly wings they both witnessed at the time the disaster struck. Mason told the Globe that when the truck hit the ground again, she felt a hand touch her on the shoulder. As she turned, expecting to see Lage, she realised she had been approached by 2 butterfly people, a blonde-haired one and a brunette. They helped her survive the terrifying ordeal, and it was clear to her that they meant no harm, as surprisingly, she said she felt relaxed upon seeing them. However, Lage and Mason weren't the only children to see the butterfly people. Other reports of humans with butterfly wings began to pour in from the survivors of the disaster, all saying they helped save them from the tornado. The butterfly people were observed shielding people from debris, tending to the wounded, and catching small children caught up in the 200 mph wind. To this day, it's still unclear just what the butterfly people actually were, as they were only sighted in this one place on this one occasion. It's been suggested that in the heat of all the terror and carnage of the tornado, the imaginative minds of the children may have misinterpreted the paramedics and flashing ambulance lights that took them to hospital as something more mysterious, or perhaps hallucinations played a part in what they thought they saw. In reality, it seems unlikely that we're sharing parts of the world with a brand new species of airborne humanoid creature, but until it can be proved otherwise, there is always a possibility, and in the minds of the children caught up in the Joplin tornado, they were very much real. Gazeka. In the forested plains and mountains of Papua New Guinea, a truly bizarre creature has been spotted on multiple occasions. The Gazeka, whose description is said to match something between an oversized tapir and a giant prehistoric ground sloth, has been witnessed several times, but the first account was in 1870 by British traveller C. Monckton. What he described was a giant mammalian herbivore, roughly 6 foot at the shoulder, when walking on all fours, that could also rear up and walk on 2 legs. It had a tapir-like trunk for a nose, walked on its knuckles, and had long, sharp claws like a sloth. The creature was named by Papua New Guinea's natives as the Pig Devil. It was first suggested that the animal might be a new species of rhinoceros, but this has since been ruled out, as there's no evidence that rhinoceros ever lived in Papua New Guinea. Following the encounter, Monckton sent a team out to track the animal deep into the mountains near the North River. And sure enough, there it stood. It's said to have turned to look at the travellers as it promptly reared up and took off into the heavy snow. And that was the last time the Gazeca was seen. However, newspapers at the time told a slightly different tale, claiming the Gazeca was initially witnessed brutally attacking a small settlement of natives, and Monckton fired a shot at the beast before it reared up, standing at around 25 feet before fleeing into the night. Whatever the truth, there are signs that Gazeca did exist. This is reinforced by ancient stone artifacts that have been found in Papua New Guinea, featuring creatures that resemble the Gazeca. Another train of thought is that it's a misplaced Palagestes, a large marsupial mammal resembling a giant tapir that once lived in ancient Australia and fits the Gazeca's bizarre description almost perfectly. Could it be that the Gazepa is an ancient ancestor of the giant prehistoric Palagestes and is still living in the mountains of Papua New Guinea? What do you think? Mahamba. According to the Bobangi Aboriginals of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, something truly monstrous currently resides in the swamps and jungles that cover vast areas of the country. The Mahamba is a creature reported to be responsible for the violent deaths of multiple natives and travellers over the years, and those who have been lucky enough to survive an encounter with one seem extremely sure it's a new species, completely unidentified to science. The Mahamba is described as an enormous reptilian creature, not too dissimilar to a crocodile, with elongated legs that give it the ability to ruthlessly chase down large prey. Its appearance has also been likened to that of a Mosasaurus, the gigantic aquatic apex predators of the Cretaceous, depicted in Jurassic World. The creature is said to be roughly 5 feet in length and spends the majority of its time crouching just below the murky surface of the Congo River, where it's been known to smash through canoes and rafts, devouring anyone on board. The Bobangi natives are no strangers to crocodiles. Nile crocodiles are both a dangerous and common sight in the Congo River basin. But multiple accounts have specifically stated that the Mahamba is something clearly different, and much more deadly. Sightings of the Mahamba first started to rise around the 19th century, along with further exploration of Africa, where European explorers not only heard tales from the natives, but supposedly encountered the creature firsthand. It's hard to tell whether or not the reports of the Mahamba are accurate or not. There is always the chance that it could be a genuine, undiscovered species of large crocodile. But as always with the more dangerous cryptids, a surprise attack from a large Nile crocodile can be easily exaggerated in the heat of the moment, and stories do spread fast. What do you think the Mahamba could be? Stella's sea ape. Now, if this one is real, it's quite possibly one of the most bizarre creatures to have ever lived on our planet. On the 10th of August 1741, famed explorer George Wilhelm Steller was sailing in the icy waters off the coast of Alaska when something caught his eye. An aquatic mammal, roughly 5 feet long, with a long, tapered body, ending in dolphin-like flukes, 2 short flippers-like arms with webbed digits, and the human-like face of an ape. It had large piercing eyes and whiskers that appeared to resemble facial hair. Steller allegedly observed the creature from just a few meters away for around 2 hours, and attempted to fire several shots at it, missing the target as the creature swam away. It wasn't sighted again after this, and the information on this encounter is limited, but to date, Steller's sea ape remains one of the most intriguing cryptids out there. If Steller is to be believed, the creature's discovery could reshuffle so much of what we know about primates and their evolution. A completely new species of aquatic ape living in secret right under our noses would raise many questions. Where did it come from? How does it survive? And perhaps most importantly, how intelligent is it? Could sightings of the supposed ape even account for historical glimpses of what sailors and explorers claim to be mermaids? After all, Steller was a reputable naturalist and has put his name to many real discoveries in the past, such as Steller's sea lion, sea eagle, and now extinct sea cow, all who definitely exist. So who are we to question what he saw? However, on the other hand, he could just have been mistaken on this occasion, as the general form and shape of the Steller's sea ape isn't too dissimilar to a dolphin or a seal, both of which could have popped up at any point during Stella's travels across the ocean. But when you think only around 5% of the world's oceans have been fully explored, is it inconceivable that a colony of aquatic apes live happily in the depths of the sea? What do you think? Umibozu. Sticking with the nautical theme, the Umibozu is a bizarre Japanese sea monster that has terrorized coastal fishing villages for centuries, and is also featured in the ebook we mentioned at the start of this video. Japanese fishermen have long told tales of a terrifying humanoid presence that lurks just beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean. The Umibozu, or sea monk, is a huge jet-black void of a creature, human in shape with two colossal white eyes brightly visible against the rest of its body. They are often depicted with a wide grin plastered across their faces, and can range in size from just a few feet to a few hundred feet. They are said to be visible only on dark, stormy nights when the sea is battered with storms, and have been known to capsize whole vessels as they slowly rise up from the waves, crashing their bodies down on ships that sail too close. They get their name from how they initially appeared to the first sailors that encountered them, who claimed they looked like gigantic, monstrous versions of Buddhist monks, some suggesting they are in fact the spirits of those who drowned at sea. It's also said that Umibozu capsize ships for fun and have no intention of actually feeding on humans. In some reports, Umibozu have even allegedly been heard speaking to one another. In the past, these giants have imposed a huge threat to small coastal villages that depend on fishing for trade and food. Superstitious fishermen who refuse to work if an Umibozu has been sighted, and this could lead to disaster for the hungry village. The Umibozu allegedly came onto the nearby beaches once a year to breed, where their tiny offspring have been sighted running along the sand before heading back into the water to begin life. As time has passed, there have been plenty of recorded Umibozu sightings. They range from harmless encounters where huge individuals have been seen wading through the shallow coastal waters for days at a time, to an instance in 1971 when an enormous aquatic creature became caught in a Japanese trawler's net. The fishermen raised the net to reveal a giant creature, black in colour with one visible white eye staring at them. As the net's mechanism snapped under the weight of the creature, a colossal silhouette was allegedly sighted diving under the water before swimming away. What is remarkable about the sighting of the Umibozu is they do all appear to follow a common theme, and there are few known creatures that may have been mistaken for an Umibozu, the main one being a killer whale. It can certainly match for its size, and its striking black and white skin kind of matches the description. Other smaller creatures that may be in the running are the now extinct Japanese sea lion, a mammal that was common around the coasts and shallow waters, where the smaller Umibozu was sighted, or perhaps even the Japanese angel shark. However, those who have encountered the Umibozu would probably disagree, believing the creature is an as yet undiscovered sea monster. So that's 5 very much believed mythical creatures from around the world, who many think are real. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you're into mythical creatures, then check out our Mythical Creatures of Asia ebook by clicking on the link in the description. If there's enough demand for it, I might even narrate the ebook. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.